Best HFY Stories, Peaceful Deathworlders. In the vast expanse of the galaxy, humanity was known for many things: their adaptability, their incredible resilience, and, most notably, their reputation as Deathworlders. It was a term that both terrified and awed other species, a reminder of the brutal, unforgiving nature of the homeworld they had emerged from. Earth, a planet where life had evolved in a constant battle for survival, was a place where every creature, from the smallest insect to the largest predator, was equipped with the means to survive and thrive in an environment that would obliterate the majority of galactic civilizations. But there was more to humanity than their violent history. Among the stars, the story of Earth had taken on a new, often misunderstood meaning, one of peaceful Deathworlders. Chapter 1: The First Encounter. The Tatari, a highly advanced species known for their technology and long lifespan, had spent centuries studying the galactic races, searching for an intelligent species capable of diplomacy and cooperation. But when they discovered Earth, they had no idea what they were in for. After all, Earth had been categorized as a death world in their archives, a planet of violent creatures that fought tooth and nail to survive. The first human they encountered, an ambassador named Lisa Bryant, stood calmly before the Tatari diplomats on their colossal starship. She didn't look like a warrior. In fact, she wore no armor and carried no weapon. The Tatari assumed this was a sign of weakness, as most species they encountered from dangerous planets carried an air of intimidation. Yet, there was a serenity to Lisa that puzzled them. "We come in peace," Lisa said in fluent Tatari, her voice steady. "Not all Deathworlders are born to fight. We have learned to control our nature, and we want to share our knowledge." The Tatari, used to being the most powerful species in the galaxy, were taken aback. The concept that a species capable of surviving on such a perilous world could choose peace was a foreign idea to them. But Lisa's words resonated, and they decided to take the humans' offer seriously. Chapter 2: The Peaceful Rebellion. As more humans arrived on Tathar, the peaceful nature of their species became clearer. Earth was a place where even the harshest environments had shaped the human race into something resilient. But rather than continuing the endless cycle of survival by force, they had learned to create stability, community, and compassion. The Tatari had long been in a state of cold war with another species, the Xiphos, whose brute strength and hostile nature made them the perfect adversary. The Tatari had fought and lost countless battles, their ships damaged, their resources drained. When they saw the humans, they saw the ideal species for military alliance. Their power seemed limitless. If they could only convince the humans to fight for them, the Tatari could crush the Xiphos once and for all. But when the Tatari proposed their plan, the humans rejected it. "We are not here to fight," Lisa Bryant had said again, standing before the Tatari Senate. "We are not your soldiers. We will not fight your war." The Tatari were stunned. The humans were offering technology, food, and knowledge to help rebuild their economy and society. But not a single drop of blood would be spilled for their cause. The Tatari could not comprehend how a species could survive in the most dangerous corner of the galaxy and still refuse to wage war. It was as if they had never truly understood what it meant to be a Deathworlder. Then, something unexpected happened. The humans, rather than withdrawing into isolation, began mediating peace talks with the Xiphos. They extended an olive branch, not through force, but by offering solutions to the crises both sides faced. It was a risky move, one that seemed impossible, but in time, the humans' persistence began to pay off. The Xiphos, initially hostile, found themselves intrigued by the humans' ability to endure hardship without resorting to violence. It took years, but slowly, the two sides began to trust each other, understanding that peace was possible even for creatures born on a planet where survival meant constant conflict. Chapter 3: The Gift of Understanding. The true miracle of the human species lay not in their strength, but in their capacity for peace. Their history of war and survival had taught them the value of cooperation, understanding, and, most importantly, compassion. They had spent millennia evolving in an environment where the greatest strength was not to destroy but to adapt, to bend without breaking. As the Tatari and Xiphos witnessed the transformation of the galactic landscape, they could not help but admire humanity's unwavering commitment to peaceful coexistence. The humans had not simply conquered their world through violence. They had chosen peace, And now, they were offering it to the rest of the galaxy. But even as the humans' reputation as peaceful Deathworlders spread, they knew the true challenge was not in surviving the galaxy, but in teaching the other species how to live with each other. For all their technology and might, many races in the galaxy had not yet learned the most important lesson humanity had discovered on Earth, that true strength lies not in domination, but in unity. And so, the Deathworlders, whose very existence once terrified the stars, had become the galaxy's greatest hope, a symbol that even in the harshest of places, even the most brutal of creatures, could learn to live together in peace. The story of humanity, peaceful Deathworlders, was just beginning, and the stars themselves would never be the same again. The end. Chapter 4, The Heart of the Galaxy. The success of humanity's peace efforts began to spread beyond the borders of the Tathari and Xiphos, as more species reached out to Earth, seeking to understand how such a violent, yet peaceful species could thrive. The word Deathworlders had once struck terror into the hearts of other species, but now it was synonymous with something new, hope. One of the first species to seek peace with the humans was the Jiver, a race of predatory beings that inhabited a volatile planet, with vast jungles teeming with dangerous creatures. The Jivers' homeworld had long been a battleground, their fierce culture steeped in survival of the fittest philosophies. They had been at war for centuries with other powerful species, and many believed they could never change. But when the Jiver leaders approached the humans, they did so with one request: teach us how to evolve beyond our nature. Lisa Bryant, now a seasoned ambassador and a hero among humans, led the charge in mediating this new peace. She traveled to the Jiver homeworld, prepared to share the wisdom of Earth's long history of overcoming violence and finding common ground. The Jiver, who had once considered only strength as the ultimate virtue, were fascinated by the human philosophy that survival could be won with intellect, patience, and cooperation. Lisa and her team did not teach them through force. Instead, they showed the Jiver examples of human history, the rise of civilization, the wars fought, and, most importantly, the hard-earned peace that followed. The strength of a species is not in how much it can destroy, Lisa explained, but in how much it can heal. The Jiver were skeptical at first, but as time passed and the humans worked alongside them, offering solutions to the Jiver's own ecological crises and mediating their internal conflicts, the results were undeniable. The Jiver learned to balance their aggressive instincts with the wisdom that came from cooperation. Slowly, they evolved. Chapter 5, The Silent Revolution. As humanity's influence expanded throughout the galaxy, a silent revolution began. Species that had once been locked in endless cycles of war started to reconsider their entire approach to survival. They were learning that true power was not in dominance, but in the ability to adapt, understand, and build together. The leaders of the Izarat, a peaceful but technologically backward species, came to Earth, eager to learn how humans had transformed their war-torn planet into one of peace and progress. On their homeworld, resources had been scarce, and their history was filled with the horrors of endless territorial wars. But as they studied humanity, they realized that peace was not something that simply arrived. It was something that had to be built, piece by piece, over time. In an extraordinary move, the Izarat invited human scientists and diplomats to establish a new form of government on their world. The Izarat leaders had come to understand that they had been living in the shadow of fear and aggression for so long that they had forgotten what it was like to live with true empathy for each other. Humanity's most profound gift was not their technology, though it was impressive, nor their military might, though it was formidable. It was their ability to forgive and to rebuild. And this is what they taught the Izarat: you must forgive yourselves first, if you want peace to flourish. Chapter 6, The Galactic Peace Accords. Years passed, and the galaxy transformed. The once feared Deathworlders had not only survived, they had become the heart of a new era in galactic history. Peace was no longer a fleeting dream, it had become a reality, thanks to the persistence of the human race. In a historic moment, representatives from dozens of species gathered in the heart of human space to sign the Galactic Peace Accords. Earth had become the symbol of a new way, a way of coexistence and collaboration that transcended the endless wars of the past. The Accords established a new governing body, the Galactic Coalition, where no species, no matter how strong or how weak, would be left behind. It was a system founded on mutual respect, shared resources, and the understanding that all life in the galaxy had a right to flourish. But perhaps the greatest victory was in the hearts of the people themselves. The galaxy's inhabitants no longer saw humanity as a species defined by violence, but as a beacon of what was possible when even the most dangerous creatures in the universe chose to live with compassion and understanding. Chapter 7: A Legacy of Peace. As Lisa Bryant stood on the steps of the newly built Galactic Council, looking out at the representatives of countless species gathered before her, she felt a sense of profound pride. Earth, once a place of chaos and brutality, had given the galaxy something far more powerful than weapons or technology. It had given them the belief that peace was possible. Humanity's story was one of survival, yes, but also one of transformation. They had not simply conquered the forces of nature, they had conquered themselves, in choosing to live not by the sword, but by wisdom. They had built a legacy that would endure for eons. And as the stars stretched out before her, Lisa knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and there were still many lessons to be learned, many civilizations to help, and countless opportunities to build bridges where once there were walls. The peaceful Deathworlders had proven that even in the darkest of places, light could flourish, and that light, forged in the crucible of struggle, would continue to guide the galaxy for millennia to come. The end, for now. Chapter 8: The Far-Reaching Consequences. The success of the Galactic Peace Accords was only the beginning. As peace flourished, so too did the bonds between species. The once violent Deathworlders, who had learned to temper their instincts with wisdom, found themselves not only leading peace efforts but also contributing to the advancement of galactic civilization in ways few could have predicted. Humanity's scientific prowess, born out of necessity in a world where survival was a daily challenge, became a cornerstone for technological breakthroughs. Their innovative approach to problem-solving, tempered by empathy and cooperation, reshaped industries across the galaxy. The Izarat, once on the brink of collapse due to resource depletion, now thrived as they adopted humanity's sustainable farming methods. The Tatari, long masters of space exploration, began to share their vast knowledge of the stars with other species, working hand in hand with human diplomats to create a network of trade and exploration that spanned far beyond their original territories. But as humanity's influence expanded, so did the challenges. The galaxy, once a place of constant war and isolation, was now a melting pot of cultures and species, each with its own history, identity, and fears. Despite humanity's best efforts to bridge these gaps, not every species was ready to embrace peace. Chapter 9: The Hidden Foe. Far beyond the reaches of the Galactic Coalition, on the fringes of known space, there was a growing darkness. The Ferrix, a race of predatory beings that had remained hidden from galactic society for centuries, watched from the shadows. Unlike the other Deathworlders, they had not chosen peace. They had, in fact, thrived in isolation, seeing the galaxy's newfound unity as a threat to their way of life. The Ferrix were a warlike species, proud of their brutal history. They believed in the survival of the fittest, but not in the way the humans had redefined it. To them, peace was weakness, and cooperation was a lie. They saw the spread of humanity's ideals as an existential threat, and they would do whatever it took to stop it. Led by their fierce warlords, the Ferrix began to organize in secret, building up their forces and expanding into territories previously thought uninhabited. They were preparing for war, not just against the humans, but against the entire galaxy. Chapter 10: The Battle for the Future. Word of the Ferrix movement spread quickly through the Galactic Coalition. The peaceful Deathworlders now faced their greatest challenge yet, not from the Xiphos or the Jiver, but from a species whose ideology ran directly counter to everything humanity had worked for. Lisa Bryant, now an elder stateswoman and a symbol of peace, convened with the leaders of the coalition. The decision was clear: they would not allow the Ferrix to destroy everything they had built. Yet, unlike the old wars of their history, humanity was not about to plunge the galaxy into another cycle of violence. This time, they would fight not with brute force, but with the same principles that had earned them the title of peaceful Deathworlders. "We can't fight the Ferrix with their own methods," Lisa said, her voice steady. "We need to show them why peace is the stronger choice, not just for us, but for all of us." Humanity's approach would be unconventional. As always, They would not engage in open war but instead work to undermine the Feryx's ideology, showing them that cooperation and compassion were the true paths to strength. It would be a battle for hearts and minds, one that would require patience, strategy, and most importantly, understanding. Chapter 11, The Last Stand. The Feryx launched their first strike, a brutal attack on a peaceful colony in the Outer Rim. It was an act of calculated violence, meant to send a message to the galaxy: resistance to the Feryx will be crushed. Their fleet, a terrifying sight of warships and dreadnoughts, descended upon the helpless colony. But the humans had prepared for this moment. Instead of responding with weapons, human fleets deployed a new kind of technology, one designed not to destroy, but to neutralize. The Feryx ships, advanced though they were suddenly caught in a wave of electromagnetic pulses, disabling their weapons and rendering them immobile. Human diplomats, alongside representatives from the Tathari and Jiver, broadcast messages of peace, calling upon the Feryx to surrender not to force, but to reason. The Feryx, accustomed to fighting and winning through violence, were thrown into confusion. The humans' refusal to engage in open war was a tactic they had never encountered. The Feryx warlords, faced with the reality that their enemies were not willing to fight back in the way they expected, began to falter. The Feryx fleet was isolated, their morale crumbling, and for the first time, they began to question their own beliefs. Lisa Bryant, now an elder and a leader of the Galactic Coalition, stood before the Feryx command, her message clear: we offer you a choice, not as enemies, but as equals. You have the power to choose a different path, one where strength is found in unity, not destruction. The future of the galaxy is not a future of war, it is a future where every life, no matter how different, can thrive in peace. The Feryx, stunned by humanity's unyielding commitment to peace, took the first step toward surrender. But it was not an easy victory. It would take years, even decades, to fully bring the Feryx into the fold of the Galactic Coalition. But the seed had been planted. Chapter 12, A New Era. The Feryx were not conquered, they were transformed. It took time, education, and immense effort, but the once warrior race began to embrace the ideals humanity had championed. Slowly, their violent tendencies were replaced by cooperation, and their strength was harnessed for the benefit of the greater galactic community. The galaxy had been forever changed. The peaceful Deathworlders had not only survived in the harshest of environments, they had reshaped the very fabric of the galaxy itself. Through compassion, wisdom, and an unshakable commitment to peace, humanity had proven that even the most violent and dangerous creatures could learn to thrive in harmony. And so, as the stars continued to burn brightly, humanity stood as the torchbearers of a new age, a legacy of peace, hope, and unity stretching out across the cosmos. The end, for now,